Alright, since so many of you have been asked about awing training, we're going to talk about some of the basic awing concepts today. I'm going to do it here in the backyard without a golf ball. Some of the best awing training you can do is at home, doing it while swinging in slow motion, doing it with your eyes closed, even swinging in regular motion at home, and awing at the same time. The main premise of awing is that if all the geometric alignments of your golf swing and all the components in your swing are going to be aligned properly, then when you awe perfectly, they will align properly. You have to have perfect posturing. You have to be perfectly relaxed. You have to have perfect breathing in order to awe perfectly as you swing. If any one of your alignments or components comes out of position, it's going to throw tension into the motion. And that stress on the motion is going to cause you to have an inflection in your awe. You're going to start holding your breath. You're going to feel either hiccups in the awe, you're going to feel inflections in the awe, or it might cut out completely. Whenever you exert too much physical force instead of using technique, you're also going to find that you're going to have hitches and inflections in the awe. So the key to awing well is first to even learn how to awe, to have a good awe. So just if you stand up vertically and you say awe, you just have your basic awe. Well, eventually you want to get that awe to get deeper and deeper and deeper. You want to feel it come from the diaphragm instead of from up in the chest. If I awe from my chest, we can hear that high-pitched awe. The deeper my awe gets, the deeper the awe is going to sound. If you look at just how basic posturing works, if I start awing, and I bend in such a way that I come out of posture, you can hear that it constrained my awe. If I keep proper posturing when I bend, that awe is going to stay deep and relaxed. Same thing's going to happen when I'm swiveling. If I get set up with a nice deep awe happening, and I start swiveling from my center, my awe is going to stay nice and relaxed. Keep in mind that anybody can develop the best swing that fits them, the most optimal swing for them, if all they do is start awing, listen to their awe as they swing, and keep developing a swing that gets rid of all the hitches in the awe. If you find a swing that gets rid of all the hitches in the awe, that swing will be optimal for your body type. So, one of the books I'm writing is just the awing swing. Learning how to utilize that awing, the slow motion training, and learning how to develop a way to get, develop a swing without any hitches, and understanding that once you get to that swing, that is the best swing for you. So, as you go into your training, you can use your training swing and you can apply awing with your training as well. We can go ahead and get set up, get a good deep awe, and you can start moving through the positions of your training swing. In the beginning, you probably will only be able to get to the top of the backswing with one awe and you'll run out of breath. That's okay. Once you get to the top, take another deep breath, and then begin awing again, and then work on the downward part of the training swing. If you run out of breath before you finish your training swing, go ahead and pause at that point. Take another deep breath, start awing, and keep moving on. With continual awing training, you'll be able to awe for longer and longer periods of time as you're swinging. You'll be able to swing, 2 or 3 times on one awe eventually. But for now, you're going to have a hard time getting through even one swing with a good awe. That's okay. It's a developed skill. Being able to develop the capacity for breathing the way you need to have a perfect awe is something that takes time. It took me 1 year of training 2 hours a day of awing at home in slow motion training, just like we're talking about today, before I perfected my awe. So it's going to take you a long time to get there. The good news is, along the way, as you continue to see your awe improving, you're going to see your swing improving. So it's worth putting the time and the effort in to learning how to awe well so you can develop a swing that's optimal for your body type. Some other benefits of awing are it helps you clear your mind. If you are a New Horizons student, we talk about the process, train, rehearse, and go. In the go zone, we want your mind to be clear. We actually want your conscious mind to be sitting on the bench. We want your inner eye, your inner mind, to have a clear image of what you want to do, and we just want to be reacting to that image. Awing helps you do that. It clears the mind. It puts the conscious mind on the bench and allows you simply to pay attention to the actions that you're performing. It allows you to keep a clear image of the target in your mind's eye. So awing has benefits that help bring the physical skills together with the inner skills. It has a full mind-body connection application. So if you want to have your whole game integrated with a good mind-body connection, then you need to spend a lot of time awing. So awing is going to help you get your physical skills down, but it's also going to help you get that mind-body connection that's needed so that you can have good focus and confidence on the golf course. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some awing swings now. So I'm going to go ahead and do a training swing, just the basic one. Again, there's all different variables in training swings. There's 12 biomechanical features in the golf swing. Each of them has 3 options. So you need to perform your specific training swing instead of trying to copy what I'm doing right now. I'm just picking a random one here and just showing you how it works. If I go ahead and get set up and start my as I went back that time, I felt some inflections in the ah. Now, I was actually performing a pattern that is different than the one that my body owns. And I could feel the inflections moving in that ah. The key would be, at each point, for me to stop and say, okay, how can I improve that? So if I go ahead and get set up, when I hit the end of that hinge action, I felt some stress in my chest in the ah. So I know that that hinge action moved in a wrong direction for me. If I start over again, by moving in a more diagonal hinge direction from horizontal, I found that my ah was perfectly relaxed. It never changed the depth of the ah, and there were 0 inflections in there. So I learned over time that my best hinge action is somewhere between diagonal and horizontal. I call it horizontal under for that matter. I'm an under golfer. And it's horizontal to some degree, but it's also diagonal. The diagonal part gets me, in the under position, and then I have to move slightly towards horizontal to make that work for me. So again, I get set up. If I move in the horizontal direction again, you can hear right at the end. Now that it got me. Right at the end, I tensed up. So again, you want to find out which hinge action works for you as you begin your training swing. So here we go. Alright, in the second part of the training swing, I just made a side-on action, moving my right elbow to the side of my body. I'm an under golfer. So if I move in the wrong direction, again, we can hear tension in my ah. So I want to learn to move in such a way that eliminates that. So I go ahead, I get set up, get my hinge action going. So we saw that time, since my elbow was already in position in front of my body, there was no need for me to move it to the side or back. Non-top golfers have to move that elbow back. Side-on golfers move the elbow to the side. Under golfers keep that elbow in front. So my right elbow was already in position. What that allowed me to do is simply create my swivel action from my center, so everything rotated from the center of gravity as I started back. So let's look at that again. I was able to do that without any tension in the action. That was a good way for me to move into the second part of the training swing. Once I complete that, I'll learn how to fold my right arm and get to the top of the backswing. There we go. So that time I created a type of swivel, the right type of counter swivel in there, that allowed me to get through that second stage of the training swing and then move on to the third stage, which was folding my right arm. I folded my right arm that time and there was 0 tension in my ah. Of course, the first couple times around, it may just happen by accident. You may not know exactly where you need to be. So you need to keep doing it. Maybe next time you'll put it a little lower, and then the next time a little higher, and eventually you'll identify that every time that your ah stays relaxed, your arm goes up in what we call the proper swing track for you. So I have a mid-track swing track. Ideally, that swing track is maybe a touch higher than the perfectly middle of the road mid-track. But that's just what works for me. It allows me to get into a position where from there my right elbow can drop down in an under position and ensure that I keep my swing slotting in the right manner. If I'm too low in the backswing, then I'm going to find that my transition is going to want to go up, and it's going to want to throw me outside the slot that fits me. So again, I got to find that swing track that fits me to the top. I'm going to turn so that you can see it from the down the line view, so we can see what's happening here as well. So let's go ahead and get set up. So we can see at that time I created a backswing action that allowed me to maintain a proper awe as I got all the way to the top of the backswing. Alright, so if you want to learn how to awe, this is the process that you go through. Of course, I got to work it through the transition, into delivery, through release, exiting, and all the way to my finish. We can look at those features in another video, but right now I just wanted you to get the basic idea of how you can work on it, in your training swing. Okay, as we continue our awing training, we can use the training swing and the slow motion training at the same time. We can kind of blend them together. It's just another way of working on it. What this would look like is I get set up, I start my awe, and I'm going to move into a position, slow motion, then pause. Then I'm going to move to another position and pause. Then move to another position and pause, and so forth as I go through the motion. This is just another way of helping the subconscious mind exactly understand what it is we're trying to accomplish in the swing. So that'll go ahead and look like this. So again, as you can see, I just try to move from position to position so that I can get the feel of how I awe, but also pausing in certain positions so I have sort of a benchmark of what that technique's going to look like so my subconscious mind can absorb it. So, I can do it in slow, very super slow motion, or I can do it in regular motion. But the point is that I'm moving into that position and I'm pausing as I maintain the awe. I'm doing it without breaking the components down. I'm actually just moving into different stages of the swing so I can understand how everything's blended together instead of doing it component by component like I do in the training swing. So let's look at this again. So again, I'm doing it in slow motion so I can get the feel and the awareness of what I need to have so I can truly understand this motion and my subconscious mind can gather all the data it needs to truly internalize it. Now, so we have awing with the training swing. We have awing in slow motion. We have awing and pausing in the different positions of the swing, doing it in a blended manner. Well, we can also just simply awe with the golf swing. This is a great way of getting a feel of how to awe before you go to the driving range to play golf shots. Typically, when golfers are at the golf course, they become so ball-bound, they're trying to hit that ball that it really disrupts the awe. So you're better off training it at home for a while so you can get a feel of how to at least get your awe up to a scale of, say, 8 on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, so that you feel like by the time you get to the driving range and you want to try it there, you feel more comfortable. Of course, you may feel like you need to do it on the driving range for a while before you can actually take it out on the golf course. As I play on the golf course, I awe with every shot that I play. It helps quiet my mind. It helps me get in tune with my inner golfer and the awareness I need so I can play every shot. So I find awing is a great application on the golf course to bring that mind-body connection together so that I can truly get into performance mode out on the golf course. So if I'm just going to go ahead and swing and awe, it'd be like this. As you can see, I can swing at a relatively swift rate and still maintain a good awe. On the first swing, I actually had an inflection in the awe as I came through. My hip slid just a little bit on me compared to what it normally needs to do for it to clear properly for me and there was a little bump in my awe down at the bottom. The next two swings, I really maintain that nice constant action, the one that produces the best awe, and you can see I have a pretty swift swing, but the awe still maintains relaxed. So that club head can be moving fast, it can be accelerating. However, the internal process for me, which comes from that awe and comes from that center rotation, is moving in a constant rhythm. And we can hear that my rhythm is constant because my awe is constant. So keep in mind, I've been awing for many, many years. However, with my lifestyle and my coaching and a lot of travel that I've done lately, I train way less than I used to. I used to train, for about 8 hours a day. For 8 straight years, I played 1,500 balls a day on the driving range for 8 straight years. I did awing training for 2 hours every single day. I at home was doing drills every night, so I was absorbed into the game. Well, that's when I was playing on a regular basis. These days, I'm teaching more, I'm coaching more, I'm traveling more, and so I train less. So I noticed that it's harder for me to maintain a perfect awe when I train less. It's a developed skill, number one, but also we have to maintain that skill. It's a habit that we need to maintain. So even for myself, I find when I'm awing on a regular basis, wow, the quality of my awe really improves. When I neglect it, the quality comes down. It's just like going to the gym. If I'm going to be in good shape, I got to go to the gym on a regular basis. If I stop going to the gym, I'm going to see my fitness decline. Same thing's going to happen with your awe. If you want to have a nice fit awe all the time, you got to be training it all the time. So, it's something that in life, we get busy with life and responsibilities we have on life, and sometimes golf gets on the back burner. So that's okay. If I'm going to start competing or getting ready for a tournament, then I start training awing every day on a regular basis. So by the time I get to that tournament, I know my awe is going to be in good physical health. It's going to be nice and strong. I'm going to be able to awe and swing in a confident manner. So what happens when we make a motion in the swing that disrupts the awe, such as trying to attack the ball or use physical force? What does that sound like? It's more like this. That's a typical sound I hear from a lot of amateurs out on the driving range. Even if they can get the awe smooth going to the top in the transition, there's always this down at the bottom because they're trying to apply force. That force is coming from the outside and instead of coming from the inside. We want the force to generate from your center. And when that force generates from the center, it flows through the body. Everything else can react naturally and it can stay relaxed. We can utilize technique to our advantage instead of using physical strength. So again, let's listen to a couple swings here so we can hear the difference between a swing that's using good technique from the inside out compared to one that uses that physical force from the outside in. And wow, there's a lot of swiftness in that swing. That club head was really moving that time. However, my awe was very relaxed because I did it from the inside out. Once again, if I do it from the outside in, what does that sound like? So we can hear there was a lot of effort in that swing instead of effortlessness. So, we want to train in such a way that we can really get that swing, working from the inside out, working with good posture, having all the right geometric alignments, so that that club head can accelerate as our body maintains that constant rhythm, as we maintain that constant awe. So here's that swing from the inside out again. So you can see that I really went ahead and made a nice technique there that maintained a perfect awe. Now I can even step this up a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a try here. This is what we call kind of stepping on it, where I need a little extra power. I center it up even more. I try to get it even more from the center. I try to maintain that perfect awe so that when I'm coming through, everything can be working together. And it's all those forces working together that allow me to apply more power instead of physically trying to use muscular strength to do it. Okay, so as you can see, I went after that one a little bit more. However, I was able to maintain a good awe. So, as you go through your awing training, you have to decide where you're going to start. Are you going to start with slow motion swings? Are you going to start in your training swing? Maybe you just start in some short game shots. Just trying to see if you can execute your short game shots while maintaining a good awe. I had a professional I trained once, and he started with the short game shots. It took him a whole year to get up to the full swing. By the time he got to the full swing, though, and his shots were like radar. He played it. He was one of the straightest ball strikers around. It took him a year to get there, but it really paid off in the end. So, you can go ahead and you can start with your training swing. You can start with short game shots. You can start in putting if you want. You can start in slow motion swings. You can blend your slow motion swing and your training swing together. You can just go through the positions and pause at each position. So there's lots of ways to do this. You can just go ahead and swing in your backyard or inside your house, wherever you have room, and just work on your awing until you're maintaining a nice, deep, relaxed awe. In the end, the golfer that has the best awe is going to be the best ball striker out there. They're going to have a swing that's optimum for their body type, and they're going to be able to play the best golf of their life. Now, another thing you can do is actually go through the positions in slow motion. So once you have the idea of how your biomechanical package fits, and you've been working on it in your training swing, you can also do it in slow motion. So I get set up. So again, I want to be able to move throughout my whole swing in slow motion, and I can go slower than that or a little faster than that. I can do it in a variety of ways. The idea is first to start out just in slow motion, a slow motion action that it feels like it's comfortable, something that you can manage. Ideally, the slower you can do it and still maintain that perfect awe, the more that your neurological system, the more your subconscious mind understands exactly what needs to happen. Okay? So, Tai Chi is a slow motion activity in the martial arts, and it helps open up our neurological pathways so that our subconscious mind can truly understand how the intricacies of our motor skills work. And so in golf, utilizing these slow motion swings does the same thing. We can truly understand on a subconscious level, a very intricate level, what needs to happen to have a precise technique. And of course, all that's learned without us thinking about it. All we're doing is try to swing in slow motion and maintain a good awe. So our conscious mind is occupied by the slow motion action and the awing. And the subconscious mind is acquiring all the data it needs to understand what the perfect swing for you is. So let's look at that slow motion action again. So again, I will just continue to work on those slow motion swings so I can understand how everything blends together. So I know what that perfect swinging motion is for me.